fight fans? It's Michelle Joy Phelps, and I'm joined now with Mr. Goossen himself. Joe, how are you? How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know, Michelle, and I thought we'd probably have done an interview before the actual fight took place, but I know you were busy, and that's the way it goes. But
I was busy enjoying that sun, Joe.
Where? It was
in Spain. I was in Spain.
Well, look, at least the sun did come out while we were in Liverpool in the last 3 days, so I'm happy about that. But look, whether it was raining or sunny out here, the people were great, the food was terrific, the training was terrific, the Khan family was great, and the victory tonight was spectacular. So, I have no complaints whether the sun was out or not.
Joe, congratulations, first off. It was an impressive knockout. You two obviously, you seem to have some good chemistry. You guys seem to work well together. I know when you got that call initially and you worked with him for the first time, in your mind, what did you think? Hey, these are the things that we have to work on.
Well, if you've watched Amir's fights over the course of, the past decade, we've all watched them. We've seen his great fights, and we've seen the fights that were, he came up short. And, sometimes it's the most simple fixes that really are staring you right in the face. And, of course, tonight the fight didn't go on long enough to see if those fixes were fixed. And
can you give me an example of the fixes?
Look, normally, it's usually something simple, like I said, and it's all about when you're delivering punches as fast and as hard as somebody like Amir Khan does, you have to be very careful where your defensive hand is. And most of the times he's gotten caught, it's because his defensive hand, when the one hand's working, the other one is not up where it should be. And, a lot of fighters learn that from a very young age. But he was so spectacular as an athlete, an Olympian, that, he was so fast, so elusive. He had got such great legs that he could avoid a lot of those problems that your average guy couldn't. So, when you go through the pros, you're going to meet guys that will bide their time and eventually capitalize on those mistakes. And that's what would happen against the elite fighters. That's where Amir would run into trouble. Garcia, Canelo. And of course, early on, the Cuban kid, I forget his name, that he got hit with the left hook. So, the thing is that a lot of kids learn that at a young age, and they're very hyper aware of it. But, again, he had such athleticism that he could avoid that up to a certain point. So we really got back to basics, I guess, the long way around here, is we got back to basics and the fundamentals, and the I don't want to say the psychology, but it's not psychology. The technique of it all, you have to practice. It's repetition, and that's what he did. And that's what I do a lot with guys that may have that specific problem. Of course, I do other things, but with Amir, that was the biggest problem. I think is that, he needed to really drill over and over again, so it becomes rote. It becomes just a natural thing to have your one hand working, one hand up when the other hand is working, whichever hand it is. Amongst other things, I'm simplifying it, but that was one of his big problems, and it's something that we were working on. Fortunately, we didn't have to find out whether the lessons took hold, but they did in sparring. So I know there that he had improved vastly from where we started and where his hand placement was to where it ended up by the end of camp. So I believe had the fight gone on, he would have been able to, I think, employ the defensive, structure that we built for him, whether it was in close or far away. But, he saw a gap early on in Greco's defense, and again, that superior speed and athleticism really manifested itself, and he took him out within, it seemed like under a minute. And so there was really no need for any of my lessons.
Joe, now that you've become Amir Khan's permanent trainer, what advice would you give him as to who to face next? Because everybody wants to see him fight Kell Brook, but he did mention Adrian Broner, who fights tonight, should he become successful against Jesse Vargas. And we got others, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, a rematch with Danny Garcia.
I think, you know, his promoter, you know, Eddie Hearn had a hard time answering that. And you know,
for you, who would you want him to fight next?
I know you say that, and it's. I guess it would be a great question to probably anybody else but me right now, because my concentration really, truly was just on Lo Greco, between the film and all the tactics we were going to employ over 12 rounds if need be. I have to be completely honest with you. I haven't thought of one other fighter. Okay. So I mean, this is a question that you're the first person to ask me it. And I really haven't given it 2 seconds of thought, except for me listening to Eddie Hearn and Amir, you know, go down the list of available guys. And I think we'd have to see a few fights unfold first, see who's left standing, number one. And then number two, you know, I'd have to, you know, take a closer look at each of these individuals and see which might suit them best. I couldn't give you a real solid answer about that right now.
Okay, Joe. Well, I know that they're probably going to want to take you away right now.
Yeah, to the funny farm.
To go eat. To finally go eat.
Okay, all right. You know, usually when you say they're going to take you away, it's in a white coat.
No,
with straps on it.
No, lucky you. Lucky you. It's some nice food that's awaiting you.
So,
but thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing your guys' career, or his career, and your relationship continue to develop.
Thank you, Michelle. And I want to tell you, I told you a long time ago, I thought you asked some of the most pertinent questions. This is years ago, and I know you're doing quite well now, and I'm happy for that. But you're one of the best reporters out there on boxing, you know, that's out on the scene, and I really wish you the best. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for stopping by and talking to me.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'll see you just in a bit. Bye, fight fans.
Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so by clicking this icon right here, or else